Hi, my name is Bruno and welcome to my channel. Today we are going to talk about my 10 favorite games. And just as I said, it's my personal top 10 favorite games. It's not the best games of all times. It's just what I consider to be the best games for me. So now let's go to the list. I think I don't need to explain much about this one. Pokemon is a game loved by thousands of people, being part of their childhood and a great form of entertainment for many people around the world. And among these thousands of people, I am one of them. Since 2007, when I first played Pokemon Diamond, I fell in love by the Pokémon monsters and the amazingness that was to catch a wild little monster and train it to evolve into a really big and really insane monster to fight with other big great monsters. For me as a kid, that was just amazing and still is nowadays. Pokemon is which is called a turn-based strategy, which means it is my turn, I make my move, my turn ends, and then it's your turn. And that repeats and repeats multiple times until one of the Pokemon beat the other. And then, when the other person doesn't have any other Pokemon, you are the winner, or maybe the loser. I love how they were creative in creating those little monsters, the huge story behind it, and the universe that they belong to. Even more the legendary Pokemon, which I just love passionately. Pokemon is a game that will have been and always be in my heart deeply, and for that reason, it is in my top 10 favorite games. Horizon Zero Dawn and Horizon Forbidden West. I included both of them because both of them are amazing, but basically, and I would say duh, but the most incredible one out of the two is for sure the newest released Horizon Forbidden West. It took everything that was simply amazing from the first game and made it even better, including new machines, new weapons, new abilities, new mechanics, new play styles, and much more. All included in the sequel for the previous storyline, which already was amazing. The game talks about this amazing story about the main idea behind the plot, which is what would be a world that the humanity tried to save because of their own mistakes. That is basically the main idea behind the plotline of Horizon Forbidden West and Horizon Zero Dawn. Because the first game, and I would say, spoiler alert, the first game talks about how humanity on centuries ago, they destroyed the humankind on Earth and also all the life on the Earth with war machines and all those kind of things. And then they also talk about the story of this Nora, which is called Aloy, which is Nora is basically a name for a tribe, and talks about her discovering this new world that she's going to explore, and also with all that, understanding what happened in the past and how humanity tried to fix their own mistakes by something called the Project Zero Dawn. Now end of spoilers. The second game, Horizon Forbidden West, is a sequel for this first plotline. The understanding and trying to fix the world at which they live. So this is why this game is so amazing. It has a deep plot line, a really interesting and nice gameplay, full of really interesting NPCs and characters that you fell in love for them, and also it's just amazing to play in this really big world. It is a 10 out of 10 game for sure, and I would recommend to every single one play them. And for that reason, it's in my top 10. Okay, I'm sorry, I just like to talk a lot, but let's try to get this straightforward. So, the next game is Ben 10 Defender of Earth. This game is originally released for PS2, and it was just amazing for me. I was always fascinated by things that change forms and transform and those kind of things. So when I saw that this little kid just simply could transform himself into 10 different aliens, that was just amazing to me. And playing this game was also really amazing. It had a really nice plot line, full of really cool characters, a lot of actually thousands of really nice enemies to fight, and a really nice storyline. So that is why this game I definitely consider part of my top 10 favorite games. Infamous is a really nice game. It was produced by Sucker Punch and it is a PlayStation exclusive. This game basically is kind of the story where they think of the following plotline. You have superpowers. What are you gonna do with them? Are you gonna use them for good or are you gonna use them for evil? And that is the main thing related with Infamous 1, 2, and the third one, which is called Second Son. And Infamous Second Son is definitely my favorite one out of the three. But the first one is pretty nice, and the second one is really cool already. But the fourth, or actually the third one, has way more features on it, like new powers and those kind of things, a new and interesting gameplay with a continuous storyline from kind of related with the other previous games, and it's really nice, entertaining. So that one is definitely one that I would consider being part of my top 10 favorite games. Ghost of Tsushima. It's a game also created by Sucker Punch, but there's a little bit of difference on it. This one you don't have any powers, really. You are just a samurai living on this island of Japan called Tsushima. And this is where the story takes place. This game talks about the great story of the samurai called Jin Sakai and his path that he will take to the fight that he's going through against the Mongolians. So that's a really interesting story that you can play as Jin Sakai. But the most interesting part of the game is not really the story. The story is really nice, but the main thing of this game is exploring this beautiful world that they have created. This game is so beautiful that every single place that you see, it looks like that you're looking into a painting. It's just amazing. Like, you feel pleasure to play this game. I loved it so much that I even platinumed him. So it was really, really entertaining and really nice. And all the features, the small features which has in the game, being the side quests, following foxes, and also cutting bamboo, and all those kind of things create an entire environment that is amazing for the game. So for that reason, in my top 10, we have Ghost of Tsushima. The Legend of the Zelda Breath of the Wild is a game that introduced a new way to play The Legend of Zelda. It was different from any other Zelda game made before. And it is such a great game that it even got the Game of the Year when it got released. The game tells us about the story of what we already know: Link, Zelda, and Ganondorf, or Ganon in this occasion, and how the world becomes a terrible place when evil takes place, and when good is not there around. The game introduced a new RPG style for The Legend of Zelda, having more equipment, more freedom to go all around in an open world, really well made with secret places to go, and also with really nice and interesting creatures to fight and find as well. The game tells us a story about these relics and ancient weapons that they used in the past, and how we will use that to defeat the great evil within Hyrulean Castle and save Zelda once and for all. This game, I don't have words to say how this game is amazing. All the mechanics, all the storyline, all the backstory that it gives to you, and also, and most important, all the NPCs, and also the characters that you find in your way. It's just amazing. It is one of the best games I ever played, and for that reason is of course in this top 10. The next game for the list is Darksiders. The games, they are all in total of 4 games, being Darksiders 1, or just Darksiders, Darksiders 2, Darksiders 3, and Darksiders Genesis. And it's quite interesting the way that you can play the storyline of this game, because you first need to play Darksiders Genesis to really understand what's going on. And then to understand what the story will be, because Darksiders Genesis is kind of a backstory, which is important to understand the main story. Darksiders 1, you play the very first beginning, and then you stop when you reach a certain point. And then when you reach that point, you play the second and then the third game. And then when you end the third game, you go back to the first one and then finish them all. It's really interesting because the game talks about the plot of the 4 horsemen of the apocalypse, being the first one played, and also my favorite game out of the 4, you played with the horseman called War. And it's really interesting because War, and I think it's spoiler alert again, War, he is basically accused to start the apocalypse, the great war between humans, devils, and angels. And because of that, he is kept in prison for a long time, a period of a century. And then when the Council of Flames, kind of being the rulers of the universe, they decide what they would do with War, War asks them to free him to find the answers for all of this, because he didn't start the apocalypse. So then that is the main story. It's War going after this mystery to prove that he is innocent. And throughout the game, you play against many devils, many angels, and it's just amazing. There are many Bible references in there, and it's really, really interesting to play and see the plot line out of the game. Also, it's a hacking slash game, which means that it's similar to Devil May Cry, God of War, and all those kind of games. You just go and slash a heck ton of enemies, and it's really fun and really nice to play. And for that reason, it's in this list. A man, a city, and a lighthouse. Those 3 elements, it's what compose most part of BioShock. All the 3 games, they have the similar element of having a city, a lighthouse, and also a man. In the first game, we play in Rapture, a city which scientists, artists, and many other intelligent people created to be a part of humankind and also God, basically separating science from all humans. And then many things were discovered, and you will play as one character who discovered this city. And then you will go about trying to understand what is all the mystery behind the city of Rapture. Then the second game, you also play in that same city, but not as a normal man. You will play as something called Big Daddy. The Big Daddies in the first game are introduced as a really huge and powerful enemy, but in the second game, you will play as one of them, one of the second generation. And then, on the third game, that's when things get weird, interesting, and change a lot, because you will play as a man again, but you will play as a man who also finds a lighthouse, but instead of going under the water, you will go above in the sky, going to the city of Columbia. And then you will understand more about the universe of BioShock, how all those things connect, and all these mysteries. It's a shooter game with a lot of powers and abilities that you can have throughout the game. And the story of this game is just terrific. It's just amazing to see how everything at the end connect, and it's mind-blowing. I love it, and for that reason, it's here. The God of War saga have been around for many years. We have seen all the story of the great God of War, Kratos, and all the stories that he has lived. But now, we have a brand new story. We now have the God of War from 2018, a game which, when was released, got the award of Game of the Year, because it's simply that good. It was an amazing game. Different from the other previous games, this game would talk about a whole different thing. We will no longer would be playing on the Greek mythology that we played on the previous games. No, in this one we started a whole new thing on the Norse mythology. So we would fight many gods and also monsters, all related with the great Norse mythology. Kratos, he tried to kind of atone and also learn from his mistakes that he has done in the past as the ghost of Sparta, and also the god of war from the Greek mythology. And now, as the father, he's trying to reconciliate everything, having a family, and also learning how to create and grow his new kid, Atreus. And because of that, we will play as Kratos again, in a whole different way. We still get much of the hacking slash style that we had in the previous games, but on a camera that is closer to bring more intimacy with the character, and also seeing more what is he feeling. We will face many challenges in the story that further will continue, most likely in this year of 2022, when they release the sequel of the game called God of War Ragnarok, which, to be honest, I'm really excited about it. But until they release it, God of War from 2018 is definitely a game worth playing it. The story behind it and all the incredible designs that they created, plus the fun gameplay and hacking slash that you can get in this game, are just worth the award of Game of the Year. So that one, for that reason, is obviously in this list. And now, last but not least, we have Destiny. Destiny is a well-beloved game for me. That because the game contains much lore on it, which is an untold story inside the game, which to figure that out, you need to read books, you need to go after some couple things that you have inside of the game, which are mysteries or maybe hidden lines. So it's like if you were in a play, and then you got inside of this play on the second act. So you have a lot of the play to go and watch and participate, but you just don't know of all the things that happen on the first act. So that's the interesting part about Destiny, is figuring out what's going to happen on the second, third, fourth, and all those acts, but also understanding what happened in the first act. So that's what's make all the difference for me in Destiny. Also, all the elements of RPG with the FPS style is just amazing for me. And also all the different enemies, their backstory, and all these different things make Destiny just one of the best games for me. And also the ability of playing with multiple friends at a time, being at least 6 friends that you can play, is just amazing. Well, maximum 6 players. You can play with 1 friend or even 6 friends in really great challenges called raids or dungeons or those kind of things. And Destiny 2 has improved much of those elements that Destiny 1 introduced to us at the time. And now Destiny 2 is definitely one of my favorite games, having a lot of those elements of PvE, PvP, and story, and all of that included, with a lot of fun and strategy also, with tons of abilities, like elements that you can unlock, and also learn the mysteries of this hidden world, which is kind of a post-apocalyptic world, and understanding and surviving through all of this great enemies that you have, enemies that can be even considered as gods. So that's definitely a really great reason why Destiny, it is one of my favorite games and definitely part of this list. I hope you all enjoyed this list, and please, if you liked it, leave a like in the like button. And also, if you liked even more and want to support, please subscribe. And that's it. See you next time.